Okay, alright. And welcome in to my apartment where I'm featuring another episode of Craven Some Raven where we go in depth on all things Raven. By a fan, for the fans, all that fun stuff. I just love the Ravens. I have got a fever and the only prescription is more Ravens. You're talking to my friend all wrong. Yeah, sounded like Christopher Walken, didn't it? Oh, you know it did. Um, so in this episode, if you couldn't tell by the title, I'm going to be doing my mock draft 1.0. So I'm probably going to do another one. This is currently, the combine just ended, so kind of let all of the workouts sit in, like how guys did, how, if their stock went up, went down, let all of that affect me. You shouldn't. You should let the tape speak for itself, but, you're only human. So rules for this, as I included no trades, just using the picks that we currently have. Like I've said before, I hope they do trade back and acquire more picks. But just for this purpose, I'm only using their draft picks. And, I'll go into each pick, why I think they'd be good there, all that jazz, all that fun stuff. But first, I have a sponsor. And this episode of Craven Some Raven is sponsored by Toilet Paper for Men. Is normal toilet paper too soft? When you wipe your ass, do you think, gay? Well, then Manly Toilet Paper is for you. Each roll is made of over 30 feet of 80 grit sandpaper that will leave your asshole more raw than a freshly killed cow. So put away that dainty roll and pick up your pack of Manly Toilet Paper today. Manly Toilet Paper, don't be gay, wipe your ass with sandpaper today. Excellent. Good stuff there. I think I need that myself. Who wants to wipe with something super soft when you could just really exfoliate your asshole first of all so it's healthy, and really just get in there, make sure you get it all with that sandpaper. It really picks up every flake of poop. Good stuff. Good stuff. I think I'm gonna have to get me some of that. That's a good sponsor. Okay, so getting into it. With the first round, we have the number 22 overall pick. First off, I hope we trade back, like I said at the top of this. But with my first pick, I have the Ravens selecting center Garrett Bradbury out of NC State. He is seen as the top center, bona fide, and then seeing his tape, yeah, he's great in space. He's got excellent power. Definitely not the biggest guy, but his ability to track guys in the open field, get in perfect position, just a great O lineman, very smart player. Everyone sees him as the number one, and I think top end talent center wise, he is head above everybody else. So it's a position of need, and might as well just go ahead and get your future center, someone who could start for the next 10 years in this draft. You really want to help Lamar, then grab his center. At 22, that might be a little bit rich for him. That's kind of why I was hoping they'd trade back, because I think if they trade back and pick up a second rounder or even another third rounder, just get anything for it. I think Garrett Bradbury would still be there, and he'll still have value. Yeah, at the end of the first round there. The end of the first round there, buddy. So, like I said, we don't have a second round pick, so our first third round pick is pick number 85. And this one was tough, but I have the Ravens selecting running back Darrell Henderson out of Memphis. And, I don't know if he's going to be there in the third round. It's tough to say, because I could totally see another team really falling in love with him and taking him in the second round, being either like the second or third running back taken. But I think there is a possibility that he will be there at that pick. And, I really love this player. He's one of my favorite running backs, especially when it comes to fitting with the Ravens. We already got the Bruiser. We already got Hibbity Hop Dixon. Sir Jukes a lot, and so we need that home run hitter. There was a reason Lance Turner was brought up even before Gus Edwards, is because we liked what we saw from him, because he was that guy where he hit the hole. He wouldn't have success every single down, but he would hit that hole, and all of a sudden he'd have like a 60-yard run, and that's what Darrell Henderson brings you. And great production in college. He averaged 9 yards a carry in 2017, and so when 2018 came around, he did the same thing. Like he also averaged 9 yards a carry, and so people knew it was coming, and he still produced. He's just one of my favorite drafts in this pick. What I really hope the Ravens target him, and in the third round, our first third round pick at 85, he might be there. He also might not, so that might be a stretch to take him there. Like, I might even put him as like my second round guy if we get that second round pick. But I just really like what he brought to the table, because he's quick. He finds the hole, hits it, and he's gone 50 yards down the field in a blink of an eye. And that's what we need. So with that, our second third round pick 102, I have the Ravens selecting Darnell Savage out of Maryland, safety out of Maryland. This might be a little bit rich for him, but I just couldn't see him falling to the fourth, and I liked some other guys. I had some real tough time picking this one, just because there were so many guys I liked here. I was thinking wide receiver. Wide receiver is one of our number one issues, but I think depending if Eric Weddle's gone or not, we're going to need another safety. We do have Deshaun Elliott. I like what I saw from him. But, thinking for the future, I really like what Darnell Savage can bring. First of all, he's a Maryland kid. Got to bring in the Maryland guys. And he is just good against the run, good against the pass, extra fast, instinctive, all the things you want to see from a football player. It's just, he went to Maryland, and he's a little bit smaller, so he's going to drop. But everyone, I think, has kind of been hyping him up. I don't really know how well he did at the Combine. I didn't really look it up. I don't have any of that information in front of me. I just kind of have the names listed, and I'm just kind of going off of memory right now. But I really liked what I saw, especially in tape. Like I said in my list of guys who I would want the Ravens to draft, just names, just listed off a bunch of them. All of these guys were on that list except for one, I think. But I think Darnell Savage would end up being a great starter, and a good steal in the draft, end up being, close to Pro Bowl talent, maybe not get into the Pro Bowl, but, put up good numbers, be on the PFF list, Yeah, and like in the run game, he was beating linebackers to the hole, so really, really good stuff from him. So with our fourth round pick number 123, that's pretty good, pick 123, I have the Ravens selecting Anthony Ratliff Williams out of UNC, wide receiver. This is our first wide receiver that we're taking, and I haven't seen anybody hyping this guy up. I'm really the only one who seems to be talking about him, and I just really liked what I saw. I think he's a great player. Excellent hands. He gets open, and he was their main dude on that offense. He even played quarterback in high school. So if we want to do some trick plays, hey, he can spin that ball. He's ultra productive. They use him in the run game. They used him all over that offense. They just constantly had him with the ball because he is that guy, and they trust him. And I think that's the kind of stuff you need, especially for a fourth-round guy. I think he would end up being a starter. He kind of reminds me of Willie Snead, someone who just gets the job done. Doesn't seem to do anything elite, but he just gets the job done. And I just really liked what I saw from him on tape. You need guys who catch the ball. And this guy, out of all the games I watched, he dropped one ball, and even that one was nah. It was a shit throw, but hit him in the hands. So with that being said, I really hope they target that guy, Anthony Ratliff Williams. Because he's my guy, since I'm the only one that seems to be hyping him up. No one else who's talking about wide receivers, when you talk late round steals. And it's I'm looking at their tape for these guys that they're talking about, and it's I don't know, buddy. I don't know. So with that being said, go on to the fifth round. And I have the Ravens selecting Savion Smith, corner out of Alabama. This guy just an all-around good player. He's an Alabama cornerback, so it'd be great to get him in the room, with Marlon Humphreys and Anthony Averett. Eventually, I think Anthony Averett could be a starter. I liked what I saw from him, and then bring in Savion Smith in with him and Marlon Humphreys. And I think it'd be cool to have like an all Alabama secondary. Alabama's not known for their secondary, but if you can get this guy in the 5th round, that's a steal, right? I think he's going to drop just because Alabama has so many players coming out. One of them always drops, and I think Savion Smith could be that guy. We pick him up and get a starting caliber guy. Watching him on tape, he was always around the ball. They love to hit over there, so tackling won't be an issue. And he was just batting a bunch of balls down. The wide receivers were always having trouble up against him, and he was in one-on-one a lot. So I really liked what I saw from him, and I think he could be a great late-round steal. So, with that being said, my next guy, 6th round pick 193. I have the Ravens selecting Ben Powers, guard out of Oklahoma. I don't know if he's going to drop this far, but on a lot of the big boards, he's rated as like in the 200s. So if at 193, he could be there. I just really liked what I saw. He's not the biggest, really like any of the Oklahoma linemen. I was thinking about like even Bobby Evans or Cody Ford up at like 1st round. And Bobby Evans, he's the left tackle, and people are projecting him to be a guard, but he looks like he's too big to be guard. But so I have them taking Ben Powers, who was their guard, and they used a lot of pulling, and I think the Ravens are going to do that a lot. So he's great in open field, great at getting position. He's just a really smart player. I watched Sit to Tally. He's great YouTube guy breaking down tape of all these draft picks. You should go check him out. Give him a shout out. Tell him I sent you, even though you probably saw him and then we're looking at other Ravens stuff and then saw me. But either way, he broke down his tape and he's really good at it, and I really liked what I saw. And then seeing like other game tape, he's a great finisher. And that's what you want in a lineman. Nasty dude, like play to the whistle. Get that last shove in right as the whistle's blown. Get in the defense's face, tell him what's up. He reminds me a lot of Marshall Yanda. Size and look and how technically sound they are. Yeah. And so it's kind of confusing why they have him rated that low. But I guess, when you got so many guys coming out of the same school at similar positions, someone's going to fall. And I think Ben Powers could be that guy. What a great name. They want a powerful offensive lineman, and they could get Ben Powers. And I think, he could be an upgrade over Bradley Bozeman or Alex Lewis possibly. It's just that Alex Lewis, I think he might be a little bit better. It's just Alex Lewis is never on the field. So I think Ben Powers could step in and be amazing. I'm not too high on Hayden Hurst. And, like thinking out here, I was thinking maybe like find another wide receiver or a D lineman, but I was just thinking O-line is more of a pressing need, really shore it up. Like what's the best way to help Lamar? So I'm going real offensive heavy in this draft. Other than Darnell Savage and Savion Smith, they're my only defenders. But, we might get more picks. So with that being said, Ben Powers, number 193 overall. And we got another draft pick in the 6th round, and this is our last pick as of right now. It's pick 195, so just 2 picks later. I have the Ravens selecting Jalen Smith, wide receiver out of Louisville. I don't really know where Jalen Smith is going to fall in the line of wide receivers. He could go 7th round. He could go undrafted. But I think if this is your last pick and you only took one wide receiver, you need to grab 2. I say you go and grab the guy who's already played with Lamar, who's already got that timing and connection down. He might not be elite at anything, but his tape with Lamar was way better than the tape he put on without Lamar. And just having that familiarity getting Lamar as comfortable as possible, that that is huge. You can overreach on a guy like Jalen Smith because of that connection, and I would be totally okay if the Ravens did that, because I could see him being a starter in the lineup because of what I just said. Because of that connection, he could end up being a starter for us. And if you're getting a starting wide receiver in the 6th round and he's producing, it's not just someone you got to put out there. Because that's all you got. And I think he could beat out like Jaleel Scott and maybe what's his name? Jordan Lastly. Jordan Lastly, he just doesn't have great hands. We saw that in the preseason. He's very good at getting open, great route runner, great after the catch, but it's that catching the ball. Like you got to do that. I remember seeing him drop that one pass like that was a touchdown, and it's like, bruh, come on, bro. That's why he sat on the bench all year. Maybe once the lights come on, maybe he will perform better, but that has yet to be seen. And Jalen Smith has already got that chemistry down, and you can't overstate that enough. So with that being said, that's gonna do it. Kind of a short podcast, but like just looking at this, it's super tough. Like I got a lineman, a running back, a safety, a wide receiver, a corner, a lineman, and a wide receiver. I think in this I was just looking at the holes that the Ravens had, and it's just super tough to like try to pick, like at certain spots, like that first 3rd round pick, I had like 3 guys where it's like, damn, where the fuck do you go? I just like Darrell Henderson's upside over anybody else. And then like the 3rd and 4th round, man, just super, super tough to try to decide. It's almost like being a GM's tough. Weird. I wonder why they make so much money. Good luck, Eric DeCosta. Like, damn, this is really tough. And this is just like Ravens related, so who knows where teams have some of these guys. And these are just names that I really like in this draft. And if you go back to my video on the names, if we got any of those guys, I'd be happy. But taking that list and like putting it into only picking 7 of them, really tough. Yeah, like I didn't have Ben Powers on that list, just because I kind of found him recently and think that he would have been like a draft steal, just because he's the other Oklahoma lineman and no one's talking about. And yeah, and I also really like Bobby Evans. They're projecting him as a guard, but like I said, he just seems real tall. But he looked mean and nasty, just real slow, just like Orlando Brown, just super tall, super big. Once he locks up, you're not getting off of him. But I also liked what I saw from Ben Powers, and I figured Ben Powers would more likely to be available in the 6th. So with that being said, that's going to do it for this episode. Subscribe if you're listening. Hit the subscribe button, like it, comment it, rate it, do whatever you got to do, or don't. Just be nice, Don't be a dick. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can send me an email at csrpod@gmail.com. That's spelled csrpod@gmail.com. Or if you want to donate to the page, donate to me, you can hit me up on Venmo at csrpod. That's spelled csrpod. And I also just started a Patreon page. So with that, like if you sign up, it's like $5 a month. You'll just get a shout out after each and every episode. Pretty much it. Or ask me anything. I will put your stuff above anybody else's when it comes to emails. So my Patreon is at csrpod. Yeah, so kind of I'm trying to get everything like uniform. I'm not going to do any social media, but my Patreon is csrpod. So if you Google that on Google Patreon and then search CSR Pod, you'll see Craven Some Raven, and you can donate to the show that way. Let's see, anything else? No, that's going to do it. I don't have any emails. So, that being said, have a good rest of your day, enjoy the draft, and go Ravens.